at the end of the day, the more efficient you can get, the more fuel it gives you to go out and grow and get more customers.
Welcome to Honest E-Commerce, a podcast dedicated to cutting through the BS and finding actionable advice for online store owners. I'm your host, Chase Clymer, and I believe running a direct-to-consumer brand does not have to be complicated or a guessing game. On this podcast, we interview founders and experts who are putting in the work and creating real results. I also share my own insights from running our top Shopify consultancy, Electric Eye. We cut the fluff in favor of facts to help you grow your e-commerce business. Let's get on with the show. We're at day 2 of E-Tail. We're back. We're interviewing an amazing founder and CEO, Michael Hughes from PlushBeds. Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
I'm excited to chat. So first and foremost, I want to shout out E-Tail for making this happen. They connected us. How's the event been so far for you?
It's been great. I think there's everyone is talking about AI right now.
Yeah.
And initially that's the buzz term. I think the housekeeper used AI to clean our room this morning. So everyone is AI everything, but it's nice seeing, from the stage what everyone is talking about and really starting to see where it's being integrated into e-commerce.
Absolutely. Well, I'll make sure to circle back to see how you guys are integrating it into PlushBeds, but before that, just quickly, let the audience know if they're not familiar with the brand, like what are the products you're bringing to market these days?
So our main focus is in the natural and organic space. That's where we've always lived. That's our wheelhouse. And we're just constantly trying to evolve in that area. And I think that that's just an area, especially after COVID, there are a lot of people that realize the importance of, building your immune system and your health and your wellness and all of that. And I think that natural and organic plays a big role with that.
Absolutely. Beds are historically made from inorganic products and some interesting products. I'm sure we'll get into a little bit more about the differentiators of your guys' brand. But first, just take me back in time. What was going on in your life? Where did this ideation, why'd you start a mattress company?
I kind of got into it by mistake is probably the best way to explain it.
That's how everyone starts a good business.
Yeah, pretty much. So my wife and I moved from Florida to Los Angeles, and typically say, you move for 2 reasons. It's either for a job or for a woman. And so we moved out to LA. My wife is in the acting profession, and that was really where to go to take the next step.
Mm-hmm.
My background was financial services, and it was fun. The money was great, but it was kind of golden handcuffs. I really didn't enjoy it anymore, and I was looking for a change. So when we moved out to LA, I was looking to pivot into something, but I wasn't quite sure what that was. And I saw the growth of just e-commerce and where it was going, and Amazon at the time was exploding, year over year record growth. So I knew I wanted to do something in e-commerce, but I wasn't quite sure what. And so around that same time when we moved to LA, we needed furniture. And one of the things we needed was a mattress. We went to local mattress stores. We pretty much saw the same 5 mattresses in every mattress store that was around. Quick backstory on that. One of the motivations for the company, my father was diagnosed with Parkinson's when he was 40 years old, and he passed when he was 64 years old. And so Parkinson's, they say, is either hereditary, and no one in our family had ever had it before, or it's from exposure to chemicals. And so that's something and my belief is, everyone's genetically a little bit different.
Yep.
And you and I might be exposed to the same chemicals our whole lives, and you may have no, it may not impact your life
sort of
in any
natural
way.
immunity or something.
Yeah. And whereas another person might get something. So, and I don't think anyone really fully understands at this point still where that comes from. And we didn't go crazy with it. We weren't making our own deodorant and growing our own granola, but if there's something that we can do in our lives to be a little healthier, that's what we wanted to do. And so we looked around, we couldn't really find a natural mattress in any of the local stores. So I went online, and I think back then, we're going back 2008. There were maybe about 10 companies that were selling mattresses online. And they were, the Tempur-Pedics of the world. And then every other site felt like a no-name independent company.
Mm-hmm.
So we found one that we thought looked good. And I called them, and I bought the mattress online. The guy called me 3 days later on a cell phone because he lost my credit card number. And he asked me if I can give him my credit card number again. I'm sure it was all PCI compliant.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I said, is what you do that hard? And he said, I'm just trying to keep up with the business. I sell about 10 of these a day. And so that was kind of a little light bulb went off in my head. Said, this guy's not prospecting. And in financial services, you're prospecting every day. If you're not calling and setting up appointments, you have no activity, you make no money, right? So I said, this guy didn't make a phone call. I called him. The guy answered on a cell phone. He could be anywhere in the world, and he's selling 10 of these a day. I wonder if there's any money in mattresses. So our mattress got delivered about 2 weeks later. I looked at the address that was on the box. It came from a different state from where this guy's website was from, and where his phone number's area code was. So I said, this guy didn't even make this mattress. He took my order. He emailed it to a drop shipper who made the mattress and shipped it to me. So I went to the address that was on the law tag, and I Googled the address, and I found out the name of the manufacturer. And I called them, and I said, can you send me your wholesale price sheet? I might be interested in selling your mattresses. And 10 minutes later, I had the wholesale price sheet. I went right to the mattress I just bought. I pulled out what the shipping cost was, and I realized he made about $500. So this guy made $500. He's doing this 10 times a day, answering his cell phone. He could be in Belize. He could be anywhere in the world. I was interested.
Yeah.
So that was up in Boston, that company.
And what year was that?
That was 2008.
Okay.
And so I happened to be going to New York the following month. So when I was in New York, I drove up to Boston. I set up a meeting with them. I walked through the factory where my mattress was made. I shook some hands and I left. And I was in the mattress business. I had no clue how to build a website. I had no clue about e-commerce and marketing. And I especially had no clue about mattresses. And that's how I started.
Now, was this first iteration of your business, was it PlushBeds, or was this a 2.0 or 3.0 evolution of your time in the industry?
It was PlushBeds. Yeah. And, and I credit my wife. My wife is the one that came up with the name. And I at first thought, we came up with a bunch of different names, and none of my names are, anywhere near as good as what she came up with. And she came up with a name. And, one thing in the mattress space, there are so many names that either the domain is already taken or the name is copyrighted or I'm sorry, trademarked. And so it's amazing. You have to go through 100 names to find one name that would be available. And she just mentioned, how about PlushBeds? And it just turned out it was available.
Luck of the draw on that one. Now, was your first product offering just almost cloning this guy's business that you called before?
No, we spoke to our supplier, and they had 15 memory foam mattresses and 2 natural latex mattresses. And so initially, we didn't know anything about the space, and I wasn't quite sure. I didn't leave there thinking, the next 15, 20 years of my life is going to be in the mattress business. Thought this is a good place to start. If you want to learn how to swim, you could read every book in the world, but you're never going to learn how to swim until you jump in the water.
Exactly.
And so my thought was I needed a product, and a product is going to give me a vehicle to start to learn e-commerce, internet marketing. And if this doesn't work, I'll pivot to something else and continue to move from there. But fortunately it worked. And so we stayed with it. But when we started, we had memory foam mattresses. We had, and then we had 2 natural latex mattresses. So we put everything together and we tried to market everything. And memory foam, we just got destroyed. The competition was already fairly fierce in memory foam. There weren't a lot of players, but the ones that were out there were spending a lot of money. I remember the first time my introduction to Google Ads, and we put a campaign out, and one night we spent $200, and I just remember being devastated, sitting on my couch, thinking we got, I don't know, maybe 50 clicks, and they came and bounced around on the site and left within a minute. And I sat devastated, thinking of all the things I could have bought with that $200, and it's just gone. And but that was the beginning, and then started to move from there. So we started to learn a little bit. We spoke to our supplier about it. They said, maybe try some niche markets. And so, then we went back to, okay, well, we bought a latex mattress, and why don't we try to go full force into latex? And so we really started to move away from the memory foam mattresses and put all of our focus in the natural latex mattresses. And we just got obsessed with understanding the market. We know what we liked. We know what we like the feel of it. We started to look at every competitor. We studied every competitor's website. We knew their mattresses better than they knew their mattresses. I would like to think, I would say. But we looked at where the holes were in their PDPs and where we think we could differentiate ourselves. And that's really where we started to put our emphasis. And that's when we started to sell. I remember the first day we also, going along with this, we were also working on building a website. This is before the days of the Shopifys and all of that were out there. Our first site was OS Commerce. Yeah. And everything had to be hard coded. I remember the first step was, we needed photography. And so we hired a photographer, I think off Craigslist, who went into our supplier, and our supplier had one showroom and had dark blue walls. And this guy charged $800 to go in and take pictures of all these mattresses. And I mean, I was so ignorant. I didn't know what I didn't know. And I got the photography back. I wasn't there. So he sent it to me, in California. And I'm expecting like Restoration Hardware, Pottery Barn.
Yeah.
And what I got looked like used mattresses on Craigslist, with a blue tint on every single mattress. And so I realized, very quickly that we had a lot to learn, in putting that together. But we finally built a website. It took us almost a year to build a website. I think the first 30 days we had 50 visitors. I think I was 30 of those visitors, checking the site every day, seeing what's still up.
Making sure that it wasn't broken.
Yeah.
Finding things to fix.
Yeah, where are all the people? There's got to be something wrong. But then I realized that you can build a great website, but if you don't know how to drive traffic to your site, it doesn't matter.
I say that all the time. It's especially when on the consulting side of this, talking to brands that want to build a net new brand or they want to migrate from something to Shopify. And I'm like, all right, let's say this goes great. We work together. We build this. How are you getting people to see it? Like, what's the plan there? And first of all, if a consultant isn't asking you that, you're talking to the wrong consultant.
Definitely.
Like, the wrong agency, freelancer, whatever. Like, if they're not asking you how you're going to show people this new store you've built, they are not really, their incentive isn't aligned with yours because the goal should be sales.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And you could, I think, with that, you can start to identify the difference between someone that's experienced that knows what they're doing and wants to help to move you across the finish line versus someone that's just a hired gun. Mm-hmm. And they're doing it just for the money.
Yeah,
and
they're in it for the
on.
paycheck.
Yeah.
So 2008, you're in the mattress business. 2009, you have a website. Are you also now niched down into organic when this website launches?
Yes. Yeah. We started with memory foam, but I would say very quickly within 6 months, moved away from memory foam and really put our focus on natural and organic. And that was really where our space was. We really built out our PDPs. That's where our focus was. And we started to sell. And then we part of that process, I just got obsessed with driving traffic. I got obsessed with paid search, shopping comparison engines at the time, SEO. And we really did everything we could to drive traffic and awareness.
Do you remember how long from that meeting at your supplier's house to the first organic sale you had was?
Yeah.
And by organic, I mean, that can include paid.
Yeah. It was about a year, just over a year. I want to say about a year and 3 months. In fact, I remember the very first day we got our first sale. And I was shocked that there was because I didn't do a test order. There's no test. Who ran a test order yesterday? And I couldn't believe it was an actual real sale. And so it was, and I remember calling our supplier, we got our first sale.
Yeah. And then how long until the next one? When did it start getting monthly, weekly, daily?
So after that, we also focus on toppers as well, which is a lower, AOV. And so after that, I believe we sold a latex topper and that came in on a Monday. And then it was a week later, another one came in on a Monday. So Mondays became known as the sale day, on the weekends. I can't wait till Monday, but then they started to trickle in a little more. And I think, that we made our first sale. It was in, I want to say it was August of 2009. And by the end of December, I think we completed the year just under 100,000 in sales. And for me, that was the real confirmation of this is going to work.
Yeah. Well, you just took the words out of my mouth. My question was like, when was that moment of like, all right, there's something here. When did you go all in on this? Because I'm assuming you're still working a full-time job.
So when I transitioned the way that my company worked in financial services, I still had a residual income coming in.
Gotcha.
However, that income was getting smaller and smaller. So I knew that runway was going to end in a matter of time. So I went all in, and it still took that long because I made every possible mistake that you can make, in trying to launch an e-commerce website. With everything we did, we worked with developers that were in India, and we worked with them back and forth in hard coding everything in OS Commerce. And after 6 months, they got hit with a virus and they had no backups, and we lost 6 months worth of work and had to start over again. So we had every problem you can possibly imagine to get up and running.
Hey, Shopify store owners. Have you ever wondered if your store is leaving money on the table? Imagine increasing sales without spending more money on ads. Sounds too good to be true. Well, it's not. I'd like to introduce you to StoreTester. StoreTester is a done-for-you conversion rate optimization service for Shopify merchants. Could your store benefit from increased conversion rates, higher average order values, and improved revenue per visitor? StoreTester could be the perfect partner for you. From ideation to implementation, this full-service A/B testing service takes all of the guesswork out of improving Shopify stores. StoreTester does all the work for you while offering month-to-month transparent fixed pricing. It gets even better. They believe in their service so much, they're offering the first test for free for qualified merchants. Let me repeat, the first test is free for qualified merchants. Curious to see if you qualify for a free test? Reach out today. Visit StoreTester.com to schedule an intro call. That's www.StoreTester.com. Schedule an intro call today to see if you qualify for a free test. Hey everybody, today's podcast is brought to you by Intelligems, the ultimate profit optimization tool for Shopify merchants. I'm telling you this, obviously I own an agency. We use Intelligems when we're running split testing and CRO stuff for all of our clients. Are you looking to maximize your profits? Intelligems offers data-driven solutions to optimize your content, prices, discounts, and shipping rates. Join over 500 happy clients who have seen significant improvements. With Intelligems, you gain control over your e-commerce economics, boosting your profit per visitor by an astonishing 36%. But that's not all. Intelligems users report a 54.62% increase in revenue per visitor and a remarkable rise in conversion rates. How does Intelligems do it? Through a suite of tools that allows you to A/B test everything on your Shopify store, from landing pages to product prices and shipping rates. Imagine testing new layouts, offers, even a new Shopify theme with ease. We're testing a new landing page for our client on a new theme versus an old landing page on their old theme right now. Intelligems empowers you to find the perfect price point for your products and optimize your shipping strategy. But there's more. Boost your average order value with customized campaign offers and discover if your customers prefer free shipping or a lower list price. With over $100 million in incremental profit generated, they have over 1.5 billion transactions ran through their software. They have over 400 million shoppers that have gone through their test. Intelligems is not a tool, it's a game changer for your business. Are you ready to transform your Shopify store's profitability? Book a demo today at Intelligems.io. Empower your brand to reach new heights. Again, that's Intelligems, giving superpowers to your customer acquisition, retention, and overall profitability.
Absolutely. Now, let's fast forward a little bit. When did things start cooking? When were you starting to get in a role? What year was it?
I want to say it was probably right after that. We probably finished just under 100,000 that first year. The next year we went from about 100,000 to 1.3 million. And so that was
that's the growth that everybody wants.
Yes. Yeah. That was really when,
what work was involved in seeing that 12x ROI or growth?
We were obsessed. We were obsessed with traffic. We were obsessed with the customer experience. We were obsessed with, what our competitors were offering. Looking at SEO, who's ranking where. As soon as somebody would outrank us, we would go and look at what are they doing, how are they doing it, why is it that way, and it was just attention.
Yeah.
It was a relentless attention.
At the beginning, we talked about how AI is starting to take over things now. how are you guys incorporating AI into the business these days?
I would love to say here, 6 ways that we're just crushing it with AI. I still don't, we haven't fully figured it out. I mean, we use ChatGPT, we use Claude, in basic, I think, the very level 1 of what everyone is using it for.
Yeah.
But I think there's so much more that we can do with it that we haven't even tapped the beginning of the potential for.
Absolutely. Yeah. And almost every other booth inside this vendor hall behind us here at Detail, AI is on their kind of vendor thing there. And some are doing it in a fun, unique way. Some, it feels a little like they had to add it on for their investors' sake. But yeah, it's great to hear, from a successful brand. It's like, yeah, we don't know what we're doing with AI yet. It's still pretty new. I think that a lot of younger brands are getting stressed that they haven't figured out how to automate their life away.
Yeah.
No, it still takes hard work.
Yeah, no, 100%. But I think a lot of, there's a whole generation right now that they're just growing up on this and it's native to them.
Yeah.
And it's going to be odd, talking to 10, 15 years from now, people that they've never not had AI, and
Absolutely.
So, but it's just going through the learning curves.
Now, at some point in your journey, while still kind of the natural and organic space of the mattresses, you ventured more into luxury. Tell me about, going after that customer demographic.
Yeah, that was, we really started to see who our target demographic was, and there were a lot of it. It was, as we started to grow, companies like Casper came on the scene, and they did an amazing job in raising awareness for the whole industry. They raised, several rounds of capital, and
they spent it all on ads.
They spent it all on ads. But, my personal opinion, I think we all benefited from it.
Rising tide raises all ships.
100%.
You saw it across different verticals, not just mattresses, watches. There are so many direct-to-consumer darlings out there that burned their seed money to build 10 other businesses tangentially just by increasing the awareness that, I can buy that product online.
Yes. Yeah. And honestly, before pre-Casper days, people would call in and they would ask, how are you going to mail a mattress and put a mattress in my mailbox? And after Casper, we didn't have those calls anymore. And it became normal. They normalized buying a mattress online. So we do have to give credit where credit is due. They spent a lot of money to do it, and we appreciate that. So I think that helped. But as we started to grow, and a lot of companies were copying and cloning, I think at one point there were 175 copycat companies that were copying Casper. And Casper really went after that younger demographic. If you look at all of their photography, the mattress was on the ground. It wasn't on a bed frame. They were really targeting, that younger demographic in college, right out of college, starting a family. And we found that our customers a different demographic.
Mm-hmm.
That they were more of the established, more professionals, more affluent, that were going for natural and organic. So I just started thinking about, if money was no object and you wanted to buy the world's greatest mattress.
Yeah. How can I make the best product for that ICP?
Yeah. Yeah. And so that journey, took us out of the United States. You wouldn't find that in the United States. It took us over to Europe, and then eventually took us over to England. And in England, there are dozens of mattress companies that have mattresses over $10,000 each, some over $100,000 each. The most expensive one we found was the Heston's Vividus mattress. It's $600,000 for one mattress. From what I heard, there are 2 people that sleep on it that we've heard of. I think one was the Queen of England had one, and Drake.
That sounds like a business in and of itself. One night's sleep, or just take a nap on this thing.
I know. Yeah. Tell me about it. And it truly is. It's a masterpiece. It's a beautiful mattress. There's, a lot went into it. A lot went into the design. But so we started to look at that and say, okay, well, how can we take some of this and bring it back to where we are in California? And it started that we looked at a lot of the materials, and it was horsehair and cashmere and silk. And so we found out who the suppliers were in England, and we bought a lot of those materials and brought them over.
Yep.
And then we started to look at a lot of the machinery that they used, and we invested in that machinery, and we brought that machinery over. There was one product in particular that all of these mattresses had in common, and it's called a calico coil. And it's an organic coil that's individually sewn. So if there are 1,200 or 1,500 coils that are in that mattress, They're each individually sewn because it's organic cotton.
Yeah.
And so we started to look at how can we buy these coils? And it turns out that you can't buy those coils. There was a company I want to say they were in Germany, Spool Anderson, that used to make this machine. But the 900-pound gorilla in the spring business was Leggett and Platt. And Leggett and Platt bought Spool Anderson and then shut down that division. And what I heard is that anytime one of those machines comes on the secondary market, they would step in and buy it and decommission it. They didn't want anyone to have those machines.
It's very interesting.
And so we continued to reach out and find out, is there any way we can get one? And I spoke to one supplier and he said, you're not going to find one of those machines, but there are 5 companies that are in England right now that are running these machines in their own factories. And all their departments were set up by the same guy, but he's retired now. And he said, but I have his phone number. And so I said, let me have his phone number. And so he was 75 years old. And I reached out to him and I called him and I spoke to him about building one of these or having one. And he said that, you're not going to buy that machine anywhere, but I think I know of a company who can build it, but they're not going to build it on spec. So before I retired, I spoke to a company in depth and I think they have the capability to do it. So I said, would you be willing to set up a call and we can speak with them? And so we set up that call, we had the conversation, and we decided we would be the one to sponsor building this machine. And so this was a period of about 2 years of going back and forth. They would make a prototype, they would ship it to me, I would look at it, I would send it to this guy in England, he would look at it, give us feedback, and then we would give them the feedback, and it went over and over and over. Finally got it to where it was spot on perfect, exactly what it is in the UK. Mm-hmm. The guy from the UK, he's been doing this for over 50 years, worked with companies that sell mattresses over $100,000. His requirements and his standards were on a 1 to 10, they were like a 15.
Yeah.
And so it met his standards. He was very pleased, very happy with it. So then they had to rebuild the whole machine, from instead of just demo pieces to get it to do what it needed to do. They built it, they got it set, COVID hit.
Oh no.
So the machine.
But also, I know what happened during COVID.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And at the same time, we had to shift our focus because sales just went through the roof, and then it was supplier issues and all of that. But it finally got to the point that travel became available again. They shipped the machine to us. We had a whole team that came over to help set it up in our factory. This guy that we pulled out of retirement, he came over and put the machine together. Now we're one of the only companies in the United States that have the capability to make a calico coil.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And so we put that together. We built one of the mattresses we put together. It's called the Royal Bliss. Just a homage to the roots of coming from England. Mm-hmm. And it's just an amazing, beautiful mattress. It has horsehair, cashmere, silk, calico coils, organic latex. It's side stitched, which it takes 5 hours for one technician, one craftsman to hand stitch the mattress all the way around. It's compression tufted. And it's the exact same mattress that you would find over in England for $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. And now we're able to make those mattresses here.
That's amazing. Now, we talked a lot about the journey, and I know we fast forwarded a little bit. Is there anything that you think we overlooked that would resonate with our audience that you want to share today?
I think we're a bootstrap company. We've always been a bootstrap company. So we didn't have the luxury of burning through a media spend and only losing 5 million this year. If we lost 5 million, if we lost $1 million, we would have been out of business. Yeah. And that maybe didn't enable us to grow as fast as other companies. But it also required us to have a very disciplined approach. And we would constantly look at the P&L to understand where can we get more efficient. And at the end of the day, the more efficient you can get, the more fuel it gives you to go out and grow and get more customers. And I think returns was a big area. So in the mattress space, when you have a return, it's 100% loss. Mm-hmm. Customers can't put the genie back in the bottle to ship the mattress back to you. But 2, even if they could, once you get a mattress that someone else has slept on, you can't sell that mattress again by law. And so it's anytime there was a return, it was a pure loss. And so what we did is when customers wanted to return their mattress, we would call them and say, we'll facilitate and help to, remove the mattress. And of course, you're going to get a full refund per what our guarantee was. But can you help us out? We're growing our company. We'd love to know what didn't you like about the mattress, and we would just ask questions. And we looked at that as it's going to cost us the cost of that mattress. So we're going to get information. We're going to get research. One of the things I don't see today with newer companies starting out is they lose that touch with their customer. They work in a silo. And if someone doesn't like something, someone wants to return something, that is the biggest golden nugget of growth. Because if customers don't like something about your brand, they're going to be vocal about it. And they're going to tell you about it. The question is, what do you do with that information?
Yep.
Right. And so we would listen and we would understand. And what we learned and what we heard were that customers wanted different firmnesses. They wanted to change and adjust things. So initially, when we were buying from our supplier up in Boston, we took a lot of this feedback and we went to them with a bunch of ideas on how we could make the mattress better. And at the time, they either couldn't or wouldn't make the changes to that mattress for us. So that was one of the pivotal moments in our company that we couldn't find another supplier who would do that for us. So we decided to become our own supplier.
Yep.
And that enabled us to do that. And in the beginning, again, we had no money. We started a massive manufacturing factory. It was a 1,000 square foot storage unit, in a complex with other storage units. And I remember the first day I bought a latex. I bought a container of latex. I bought some organic cotton covers and some cardboard boxes. And it barely fit. There was one roll-up door. Okay. But so we wound up taking all the materials out into the parking lot after, at 7:00, all the cars would leave for the day. And we would build mattresses under the street light. And,
awesome.
And that's where we started.
Michael, we are running out of time. On Location does put some constraints on it. So for those that are interested in these amazing mattresses you're making, where should they go? What should they do?
Go to plushbeds.com.
Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
We can't thank our guests enough for coming on the show and sharing their knowledge and journey with us. We've got a lot to think about and potentially add into our own businesses. You can find all the links in the show notes. You can subscribe to the newsletter at honestecommerce.co to get each episode delivered right into your inbox. If you're enjoying this content, consider leaving a review on iTunes. That really helps us out. Lastly, if you're a store owner looking for an amazing partner to help you get your Shopify store to the next level, reach out to Electric Eye at electriceye.io/connect. Until next time.